Let's try not to fall down the abyss this time. Alright, well, we got the army losses though. I love that. I love that. Welcome to Dan Plays PC Games. I'm Dan. Today I just wanted to go over the graphics settings for Warhammer 3 ahead of the launch of Immortal Empires. The launch of Immortal Empires will be on August 23rd. And I'm hoping, this is version 1.3.2, this is the latest build as of the moment, available to the public, not early access. I'm hoping that in patch 2.0, which will be coming out with Immortal Empires, also with the Chaos Warriors DLC, which I purchased, and also with the Blood DLC, which I got Blood for Warhammer 2, so that'll be coming free. Don't need to buy another copy of the Blood DLC if you have one for Game 1 or Game 2. I wanted to see about performance here, and I'm hoping it will improve when IE comes out, because there's some kind of funny things going on here. I'm running, by the way, at 2560 by 1440. A lot of the time when people talk about their graphic settings, they don't talk about the resolution that they're playing at. And playing at 1080p is a very, very different thing from playing at 1440 or even 4K. So what system am I running? I've got a GeForce RTX 2070 from NVIDIA, so it's a decent card with 8 GB of RAM. And then my CPU, which isn't shown on here, but it is important for a lot of the settings, especially for all the calculations with larger unit sizes, is the CPU. And I've got a Ryzen 7 5800X, so that one's performing quite well in terms of taking care of the shadows and then also taking care of all those calculations for all of the many units. I still prefer to do a large unit size rather than ultra though, because it does become taxing in other ways as well. So you can see here I have a mix of settings. I've got unit detail in ultra, very important to me, textures in ultra. If you're struggling, your system struggling to render higher frame rates, then really what I found in my testing, for my rig anyway, that the really big items are things like, well, yeah, the shadows, so putting them on ultra or extreme, that will come at a great cost. And if you have a lower end CPU or lower end card, then reducing those shadows should help. Also things like fog and lighting have some impact, but not all that huge. Anti-aliasing TAA high seems to be broken from what I can see. Not using that one. But the biggest one for me right now, and something that I think that they should be able to fix, because I can't see any reason why the impact should be so big, is VFX detail. So I'm going to show you how this runs with visual effects on medium. So I'll run the battle benchmark. And by the way, before we go, I wish they had more benchmarks, because if you remember Warhammer 2, they had 2 battle benchmarks. One was the regular battle benchmark with lizardmen and elves. And that was fine, but the Skaven benchmark gave you a much better sense of whether or not you'd expect to see some frame rate drops. Because there were some really more intensive parts of that one, especially in terms of visual effects. But on that note, I have VFX on high in Warhammer 2, and it's running just fine, whereas here in Warhammer 3, as you can see, I'm having to run medium. So here we are, and I wasn't sure whether or not recording would have an impact on the frame rates, but not seeing any right now. I do have VSync on, and I have a 60 Hertz monitor, so that's why you're seeing either 59 or 60 frames a second. And I think the game looks pretty good. Hopefully temporal anti-aliasing will be done in a way that works well, but for now I'm just using FXAA, I think. So here we start to have the visual effects with Scarbrand. This generally doesn't have a big impact. Where it really happens is in a moment where he's going to shoot out some flames, and then where Katarine is going to respond with some magic of her own. That's when really things become more challenging on the GPU. But I think these blasts look great. That looks pretty good there. There's Katarine's magic. Little bombardment over here, everything running nice and smooth. Love seeing those units fly. But we really need blood, of course, blood for the blood god, so looking forward to that coming soon. There we can see very stable, right at 60 frames a second. So really nothing put any real strain on my rig at this setting. In fact, probably that means if I wanted to, I could start increasing some other settings. So I may play with that a little bit more, but I'm hesitant to do that now because hopefully again, we'll have made some changes for patch 2.0. So I'll invest the effort once we get patch 2.0, and then I'll probably update us with another video talking about that. But here, let's put the visual effects detail on high and run that, and we'll see what the differences are and then how it runs. So here we're already seeing dips into the 40 frames a second, and I can't really see anything on screen that looks all that much better or difficult to render. So I think something's just not right with the way they've implemented VFX High and Ultra, and I hope that they're going to fix it. Like, those trails don't look any much better. Here we start to see a little bit of difference. We see those skulls in the VFX, but look at the frames dropping all the way down to the 30s. So it's cut my frame rate in half. More than that probably. If I took VSync off, we would have been mostly well above 60 frames, I imagine. And here's this huge cut down to 30. So yeah, those little stars you can see in that circle that she cast, that's new. But there's no reason why this should be eating into the frames nearly as much as it is. So hopefully that they're going to fix that when we get to patch 2.0. But if you've been struggling with visual effects quality, if you've been struggling with the frame rate, this is one setting that, in my experience at least, has a huge impact. You can turn that down, and it should make a big difference for you, hopefully. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.